Hello everyone, Panda West Music Talk here, and it's the end of the year, which means it's time for lists. Now, I've listened to a lot of albums this year, not as many as I would like, but I've listened to a considerable amount, maybe around about like maybe one or two for each week of 2018, which is pretty good, I guess. I don't know. Good for me at least. But today I'm gonna go down with the worst of 2018. So without further ado, here we go. Number 10 on this list is Kamikaze by Eminem. God, Eminem is old. Around 2016, I got into Eminem a little bit. It was only really just the hits that I was into. Because before then, I didn't have streaming. I wasn't really into albums other than the ones that I owned. So my obsession with him kind of faded out very quickly, and it was only exclusive to 2018 and 2016. But I decided to listen to this to see how an album of him would be like, and yeah, he's too old. Well, it's not just that he's lost his mojo. There's also very cringy moments on this thing, like Nice Guy and stuff that doesn't even make sense. Why is Venom on this? Why, like, he's dissing everybody, and oh my god, this Eminem should not be allowed to make diss tracks like this anymore. Like, it should be a law. It should be a law that he should not make diss tracks like this anymore. Oh my god. It's just a train wreck from a former legend, I guess. He's worn out. Eminem. This number 9 pick needs some context. Okay, I have a friend. His name is Ushin. And so he has a band called President of What. So he has made some pretty good work under President of What. But this year he made an album called And What If After I'm Gone, None of It Matters. That album is my number 9 pick. Sorry, man. This album is kind of a departure in sound. Ish. Kind of. It kind of retains the same sentiments of the previous album with its combination of pop punkiness-ish with electronics fused, and it provides for some at least interesting work, but on this it's more electronic and rap influenced, and yes, it's still very interesting, but it's not an interesting that is good. It's more of a interesting that makes you kind of look at it and go, okay, that exists. And you can just, like, things like like Trailer Boy, where it's meant to be ironic, but it's so bad. Trailer Park is one of the few songs on this album that are just very bad. One of the few very bad President of What songs in a discography that has usually been pretty okay to decent and even good in some points. And then the usual gripes like the vocal delivery and just the inconsistency in the album. But to you, Sheen, keep working on it, and good luck. And I will say, he did follow up with 2 singles in the fall that were much better. My number 8 pick is America by 30 Seconds to Mars. You saw my review, probably. You know how I feel about this. It's got some okay pop tunes, and it's got not so good pop tunes. It's a mixed bag, and it's not a good one. It's just very bleh. And I have not returned to it because if I did, I'd probably feel the same way. It doesn't give you any big impression, and the one that it does, like, it's not interesting enough to keep me interested in the good parts. And all the good parts are in the front. It's a front-loaded album that only gets worse and more cringy by the song. So it's not worth my time, and it's just bad. Number 7 is Man of the Woods by Justin Timberlake. Say Something is the best song on here, simply because it is a tangible and okay pop tune. That's it. And it has that one guy on it too, and he makes things pretty good. He makes things mediocre to just pretty good. He made Tennessee Whiskey, and that's pretty good too. So Chris Stapleton, that's his name. But yeah, the rest of this album is weird. It's weird. Like, most of it is this weird country-tinged pop-ish. It's like the remains of alt country, but in a new context of 2018 with Justin Timberlake. And then a couple of these songs are weird interludes with this girl trying to seduce me. I don't know what those were about. And then just filthy. Filthy. Oh my god. It's a mess. It makes me question whether it's what it's trying to be. It makes me question Justin Timberlake. And yeah. I mean, I for one have been pretty well received. I've been this. I mean, I like some of Justin Timberlake's stuff. The 2020 Experience is pretty good, and Future Sounds, it's also pretty good. It's okay. Those two are okay. But this, I don't even know what he's doing anymore. He's not even making... It's an experiment that went wrong. That went horribly wrong. And his career is probably ending because of it. And wow. Yeah. I don't know if he's going to bounce back, but if he doesn't, just... yeah. Number 6 is Disobey by Bad Wolves. You might know this band as the band that covered Zombie by the Cranberries in memoriam of the lead singer. But if you dig deeper, you'll find that they have an album with the song on it. Now, a lot of people hate that song, that cover. It's the best song on this entire album. And why is that, you ask? I will tell you. This is the most boring, yet so cringy metal I have heard in a while. And I hear and like I don't hear a lot of metal in a span of a while. So to say that something is the worst of a while is saying something. My number 5 pick goes to Poet Artist by Junghyun. I don't listen to a lot of K-pop. I've heard some of K-pop. It's alright. I'd never want to listen to an entire album of K-pop ever again just because of this one album that I've heard early in the year. This was my first album experience of K-pop, and boy, did it set the bar low. Very, very low. It's got references to a lot of things that probably nobody else cares about or wants in their songs, and other than that, it's just boring. Hashtag boring. Number 4 goes to Beer Bongs and Bentleys by Post Malone. I didn't really expect this album to be so low on the list, or even be on the list, because the first half of this album is actually pretty good. But when you take into account the entire album, the second half is filler, and just, it doesn't work at all. And then you get these two, boom. You get what is a very front-loaded album with 18 tracks on it. So not only is it front-loaded, it's very bloated too. And I don't want to listen to Post Malone for that long. If it was probably about 9 songs, I would be okay. But it's 18. Number 3 goes to Mania by Fall Out Boy. I wished so much that this would be on the list because I finally get to talk about not my least favorite, but my least favorite band that I liked in 2017. And even then I barely liked them too. So, it's especially satisfying to know that this album is not good. And not a lot of people like it either. But though it's not the worst Fall Out Boy album, yes, that's a hot take apparently, it's definitely the laziest. They did not intend to make this album. I do not believe that they intended to make an album with this at all. This feels lazy, it's overproduced. In some cases, it's just boring, but there are some kind of quality songs on here, I will admit. Like Heaven's Gate is alright. And Last of the Real Ones is also alright. The best of this is pretty decent to alright. But the worst is some of the worst material Fall Out Boy has ever made, with Young and Menace and just I don't even want to think about Young and Menace. To go further in depth, some of the cringiest lyrics that the band has ever made, even on the better songs like Like, Stay Frosty Royal Milk Tea with that horrible, horrible chorus. And then some tracks are just plain out boring, like Bishop's Knife Trick. And then, other than that, it's just oversaturated and overproduced, and it's it's the most. It astonishes me how bad this band can get, because they've made some quality albums, even in this decade with Pac-Sam Days. Yet they still just make these terrible, terrible, terrible albums. To be honest, they should break up. They should. They should. It's not worth it anymore. They can make better music than this. And I know they can, because I've seen it. They just choose not to with this band. So it's better for them to just break up. It's not worth it anymore. I don't want to hear another Fall Out Boy album. That's it. Number 2 is And Justice for None by Five Finger Death Punch. Five Finger Death Punch. I've heard about this band all my life. And I haven't really heard about them at all until a couple years ago. And they just don't make good music. Oh my god. They suck. They suck. They really do. And especially with this. Like, I thought stuff I heard a few years ago was bad on this, but this blows everything out of the water and how much it sucks. It is not only the same stuff that they've been doing, but yeah, this is just a whole new level for them. It's not only the same stuff that they've been doing, it also adds a bucket of salt from drama that doesn't even matter. So it's funnily bad. Like, you can hear through the insults that he's just jabbing, and it's like it's kind of funny, but I mean, yeah, don't get me wrong, I know how much he's been through, and just because it's a bad band doesn't mean I don't have sympathy for the guy, but oh my god, did he have to do this? Did he? Oh my, I'm sorry, but this is not a Rumors at all. And the number 1 album for my list of worst albums of 2018 is Bobby Tarantino 2 by Logic. Now, he did make a pretty good album this year too, Young Sinatra 4. It's his best project to date. But earlier in the year, he made his worst, Bobby Tarantino 2. Worse than any of the Young Sinatra tapes. Worse than the original Bobby Tarantino, definitely. Worse than Everybody. Worse than Under Pressure. Worse than The Incredible True Story. Blows it all out of the water by just how non-existent this album is. It's barely an album. It's a non-album, which I like to term some albums. Now, non-albums can vary in quality. Some non-albums are 50s. Some non-albums are straight, just garbage, and they end up as like 5s. out of 100s. But this is probably more towards that, the latter, because it's not offensive, but yet it is offensive. It's offensive because of how much people were expecting. I was even expecting something more from Logic after Everybody, which, yeah, it wasn't that good of an album. It was a pretty bad album, but at least there was something there that you could see that he was tapping into, at least. And that was proven by Young Sinatra 4, but we had to get through this broken expectation of an album. And yeah, as a former Logic fan, this is what got me out of Logic. This is what ultimately drew the line. This was it. This was the album. So, that being said, just because it's a disappointing album doesn't make it the worst. But it's also a boring album. I do not remember half of these songs. I can't hum to Midnight, and I barely even remember the names of some of these tracks. But like, I'd literally have to look at my phone right now just to tell you the track listing. Because it's such a forgettable album, combined with how much of a disappointment this album is, that is what makes it my personal least favorite album of 2018. So, that was my list. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you enjoyed the video. It's a long video. And I will see you soon, I guess. I never know when I upload.